Hello everyone, it is week 43 of the CBUX program. I decided to have my video on time this week and delay my trip a day just for you guys, because I know, punctual videos is what you guys, strive to see every single week. So we're going to continue with the end of the year seminar in Berlin, starting last Thursday. Had to get them nice and early to go to the American Embassy. So after we had breakfast, then we took a bus downtown Berlin, right in front of the Brandenburger Tor is where the embassy is located. Got out and had to wait in a really long line to, go through security, we were actually going on American soil, so we, had to jump through all the hoops just like everybody else. Once we got in, they gave us some hats, and Charlie and I decided to take a selfie video.
You guys are freaking out. That's so hot.
Should we take a selfie video of each other? Charlie.
It's about as cool as it gets.
Yeah.
And then Charlie continued on his with his monologues and decided to discuss the greatness of high fructose corn syrup, the cravings that we've had for it for the last couple months while in Germany.
Sugar, there we go.
Sandwich, man.
The thing, I love high fructose corn syrup. Tastes like America. It tastes like high fructose corn syrup is the taste of freedom and liberty. And you can bottle the appointment.
Hey, tall people. Hi. How are we?
The Yale University men's singing group, the Yale Alley Cats, were also there to grace us with their presence and sing us a couple of songs. We were then also greeted by the ambassador of the U.S. In Germany, and ironically, he didn't speak a single word of German. Tried and failed miserably. A lot of us kind of found that interesting. It wasn't just our PPP group. There's also a high school group as well as an apprenticeship group. In total, there was about 300 or 400 students. So we kind of divided off into different sections. So first, we divided off into U.S. state. So all the Indiana people got together and met. And then we all got into our German Bundesland groups, and again, just kind of hung out and talked for a while. There was then some other, talks and speeches of people. The State Department, again, came and gave us another talk on how we should be an officer in the State Department. And then our little party in the courtyard of the embassy was all over. We're going to take the long walk over to the Reichstag, which took about, 30 seconds. We then had to wait in another long line to go through security, and once inside, we then sat in this big room and continued to wait. And there were members of the German parliament there, so the Bundestag president was there, as well as some other parliament members who I can't remember who they are. And it was pretty much just an open question and answer kind of a session. The American students would ask questions, and then the representatives of the Bundestag would then answer them. It was all in German, and we were out in the hot sun all day, and it's just been a lot of stuff going on, so I wasn't paying the closest of attention. However, they were giving out free Coke and Twix, as Mike liked to point out.
What we got going, Mike? Got a Twix and Coke?
Twix and Coca-Cola.
And another Twix and Coke.
This is why we're friends.
We also then had dinner in the Reichstag, which was buffet style. Pretty good stuff. And at the end, the high schoolers, not all of them, but a nice little group of them, sang us a song. After we were done sitting in this big room for, a couple hours, we then got to go on the top of the Reichstag, on the roof, and kind of look out over the city of Berlin and enjoy the beautiful sunset right on top of the Reichstag. That evening, Pat and I got together, met up with a couple friends of his, and we went to this bar up by Frankfurter Tor, and it just so happened to be the exact same bar that I went to with Charlie, my German professor, back the first time that we came to Berlin. Pretty cool place, just kind of like this, hole-in-the-wall type of thing where there was €50 beers, so it worked out all right. Next morning, all the PP peelers again, all 8 million of us, met in front of the Reichstag, and we took a nice picture there on the steps in front of the Reichstag. We then went inside the Reichstag to watch some of the proceedings of the important people of Germany. It was the 65th Geburtstag, or birthday, of common German law. So it'd be our 4th of July where we declared independence. It was the the day that they pretty much wrote the foundation for their country. So every party had a representative that gave a nice little short speech about, whatever. I wasn't really paying attention at this point because I was tired. Because we had to be there, super early, and I was still pretty tired, and I had to stand in the back, and it was just, not happening. But Angela Merkel was there, who is the Obama equivalent of Germany, for those of you guys that don't know. So I can say that I saw the back of her head. Didn't get meet her or anything like that, but, even if I did, what would I say? Servus. That afternoon, just the young professionals group met up, and we went to the Tempelhof Flughafen. Tempelhof was this old abandoned airport that was built by Hitler, and it was supposed to be the biggest, most glorious airport ever built in its time. And back during the Cold War, when the Soviets blockaded off the west part of Berlin, this airport was used by the Americans for the Berlin Air Bridge. So it was the most successful air mission that America has ever put on, and they were landing like a plane like every 30 seconds or every minute or something like that, supplying the West Germans. And after a couple of months of doing this, the East German government decided to not constrict West Berlin off because they realized that it just was not working. So it's actually a really important piece of area in both American and German history. Ended up just getting closed down because they never really finished the construction, and the design was a little bit outdated with the times by the time that the war was over and everything like that. And so Berlin just decided to turn it into this big ass park. But we got to take a tour of the old complex and the old, terminal and everything. There was even this basement that we went down into that was a storage facility for, important classified documents and films and stuff like that. But, of course, there was a fire there. It just happened to be a fire where all this important, stuff was being stored. So you had another abandoned place in Berlin. That was, again, really, really cool to see. There was also the filming of the next Hunger Games going on, but it was kind of closed off. But we still got to, could see some of the stuff, some trucks and movie props and stuff like that. After our tour was over, then a nice little group of us just decided to walk the entire runway, which is like 2.5 kilometers, 80 million miles, whatever, long, and it took quite a while, and it's just on asphalt, and it's just this long, straight strip of road. So, 2 kilometers isn't really that far to walk, but when you've been walking around the entire day anyway, and it's just this long, straight, open path that feels like you're going nowhere, it took a little while, and it was fun, but, wouldn't do it every day. After just randomly walking around an airport for hours on end, we went back to the hostel, and a couple of us were just grabbing some beers, a nice patio area that they had. And then later that evening, I met up with Charlie. My old German professor from college was on the same trip that I took 2 years ago, except with, a new group of people this year. So they were doing the whole, Munich, Vienna, Berlin type of thing. The whole trip that got me inspired to come back to Germany. The whole trip that, changed my life pretty much. So I went to see Charlie. Haven't seen him since I graduated and left Ferris. And wanted to catch up, see how stuff is going. Originally, it was just going to be meet up for beer, dinner or whatever for dinner. Dinner for dinner. Say that 5 times fast. Ended up turning out that we went to a bar kind of by the Kulturbrauerei area, which is actually a really cool place in Prenzlauer Berg. So we're just sitting in this bar, talking, drinking beers. Ended up staying out till like 2 in the morning. And he was like, oh crap, probably should, go to bed. So Charlie, it was great seeing you again. Hope you had a great rest of the trip and a good flight back to the States. I went back to the hostel then and tried to meet up with some other people. There was a pub crawl going on, and just everyone was just out everywhere. This was like the last night that we all had together for our last day. So everyone was going out and trying to have some fun. Ended up getting in touch with Scott. He came back to the hostel, and we wanted to go to Kulturbrauerei and hang out over there. We were on our way and stopped by a Späti to get a Späti beer, and we ended up just staying outside the Späti until the sun was coming up. We were just talking with random people that were coming to the Späti that were just walking by, going to the clubs, and it was really cool. We didn't do anything except drink cheap beer and hang out on the streets of Berlin, and it was a really fun night. You don't need to go out to the bar. You don't need to do anything really fun. You can easily just go to a Späti, get a beer for 90 cents, and just hang out with some people and talk, and it's really cool. It was really fun. Next morning, then we had our closing meeting with our group, so we met up nearby at the hostel, and they were just telling us about all the stuff that we need to do to prepare to leave. Nothing too importantly exciting, except then Casey showed us a video that he made, and it was really, really, really good. And I wish I had a link to the whole thing. He sent us a link, but it's only part of the video. Once I find a full video, and if I can get that to you guys, I will definitely do that, because it was really, really well made. So good job, Casey. And then we all said our goodbyes, and I went with Pat. I was going to stay at his place for the night. Went back to his place and took a nap for quite a while. We were tired from the whole week, especially the night before, because I only got like 2-3 hours of sleep because I stayed up till freaking wee hours in the morning. After our nap, Pat and I then met up with Hattie, and we went to a lake. It's called Schlachtensee, and it was just this nice, quiet little lake. It wasn't too big or anything. We just kind of walked around the lake, found this nice grassy area that we could sit down and just hang out and chat. Met this one random British guy that came and asked us for a lighter, then just kind of asked if he could join us, and then asked if we would like some beers, and we're like, yeah, of course, just make yourself at home. Ryan and Laura then joined us later and continued to just kind of sit out by the lake and chill. They got a little hungry and wanted some more beer, so there was a nice beer garden area, restaurant thing right next to the lake, and we just kind of sat there and chilled out for a little while. It was starting to get a little dark, starting to get a little colder out in the evening, so we then decided to go back to Pat's place. Pat then sang us a couple of songs about, being Americans in Germany.
Damn, I wish I spoke German while in Germany. Everyone keeps looking at me, it's so inconvenient.
And then later, we went out to the Warschauer Strasse area where we're going to meet up with Scott again, and some of his brother and some of his other German friends were there. And so we met up at this bar down on Warschauer Strasse, and just had a couple of beers and chilled. Then went back home to Pat's place and just called it a night. Nothing too wild and crazy on Saturday. Sunday, pretty much just got up and left. I had to train ICE 7-8 hours, whatever, all the way back to Saarbrücken. I miss Berlin, man. I miss Berlin. Like, before I even left, like when I was waiting for my train in the Berlin Hauptbahnhof, I was just like, dude, this sucks. I really don't want to leave. Like, every single time I come to Berlin, man, it's just like better than the last time, and this is true for this time too. Like, every single time, man, it's just so much fun. There's just so much to do, so much to see, and I freaking love it. Rest of the week then, pretty typical. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday had to work. Still trying to recover from the week before. I wasn't like just hungover or anything like that, but my sleep schedule is definitely out of sync. It was a pretty tired, exhausting week at work. Yesterday, after work, I met up with a buddy of mine, Harry. He was a Mitfahrgelegenheit that I took to Frankfurt one time. And he was like, yeah, man, we should hang out in Saarbrücken sometime. So the last couple weeks we've been trying to get together, but I've just, been busy. Went over to his place, and he lives in a really cool apartment. He does like renovations and stuff like that, so construction worker, and like re-renovated his apartments like really nice, and it's in this really cool area. Out on his patio you have this really nice view of Saarbrücken. Some of his other buddies came over and we just kind of hung out, had a couple of drinks, and then we went to Garaja. Then I came back home, went to bed, woke up, and now I'm making my video. This weekend, as you guys probably know, on Monday I have a interview in Aachen again for a job. So I'm kind of making this like little tour, going up to Koblenz later today, and then going up to Cologne, and then over to Aachen, and we're gonna kind of make a nice little trip out of this long weekend. Today's a holiday, by the way, so it's gonna be a long weekend, and I will let you guys know how the interview goes next week. So hope everyone's doing all right, and until next week, I'll see you guys later. Peace.